we are to what I think is my last machine to get working, and in this case, the Commodore 64, and have this become a Wardialer. It's going to also act as a terminal, so I've got software in here to be just dial-up terminal, but primarily it's going to be doing war dialing, hopefully. And let me say, if you were on a Commodore 64 back in the 80s doing any sort of this stuff, I'm sorry. You probably should have had a different computer because this has not been a pleasant experience. The main issue is the modems are proprietary generally in the user port. It's slow. It's not kind of a standard interface. So not all the software works with a lot of the modems. Some software works with some modems, and it just becomes a pain in the butt. I've tried, I don't know, 6 or 7 different things that I found from the 80s, and I've gotten one to work so far. Now, I did order another user port modem, and I also have a SwiftLink adapter, which that's the other side of this, is if you move down to the cartridge port and use the SwiftLink, which is definitely a possibility. Again, finding software that actually works with that from a Wardialer perspective, I have yet to do. So the one I actually finally got working is, what's it called? The Final Dialer 2.0. It's on CSDB. And it works with the Commodore modem that I have in there, which, by the way, that's a slow modem. It doesn't give back any sort of extended result codes, so it's unreliable at best. You can't tell, was it busy? Was it voice? It just basically gives back carrier or no carrier, and that's essentially it. Really is all you're going to get. Move down to the SwiftLink, and maybe you could attach a Hayes modem, but again, I haven't found any software to work with it yet. If anybody knows a Wardialer from the mid to late 80s that works on a Commodore with a SwiftLink or a user port RS-232, I'd love to know which one it is. One of the other issues is I normally have my Ultimate 2 cartridge in here, and the modem in the Ultimate 2, it doesn't appear you can completely disable it. It always emulates it, so you get conflicts between that and the user port modem. And if you put the SwiftLink in at the same time with the user port modem doesn't work. It doesn't initialize. This is not the best platform to do this on unless you have a decent modem on a SwiftLink and you write the software yourself. But I've rambled on enough. I'll kind of show you a little brief demo of how it works, what it'll look like. And if you want to mess with it at VCF, feel free to walk up and let me know, and you can play with this. And because I don't have the Ultimate 2 in there, I am using real floppies, which, to be fair, for a vintage computer fest, is the right way to go, isn't it? So I'm going to turn this off and turn it back on and make sure that modem initializes, because sometimes it doesn't. You should be able to hear it. If it doesn't initialize, I'll pause and come back until it does. There, you hear that sound? That was the modem initializing. That's what you want to hear. I have 2 drives. This one's on 8, that one's on 9. Up here is Novaterm, which I have set up to use the SwiftLink adapter. Hopefully at some point I can figure out how to get both in the machine at the same time, but I don't know. We'll see. And here comes the Final Dialer. I'll move it and zoom it in so you can see it a little bit better. It's the Final Dialer. That was bad. Yeah, I know. For whatever reason, you got to go in the parameter menu, turn on caller ID, turn it off. That just seems to have to be done all the time. Why, I don't know. And it will save the results to the disk. I can hook up my dot matrix to here, but I'm not going to drag it along. Prefix, as always. Let's start at 4201. And let's go to, I'm not going to let it run the whole time. I don't know if you can hear the modem. It just beep, 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 beep there. .4201 isn't an active line, I don't think. You're probably not going to hear any ringing yet. What is an active number? 4202. Let me dial that so you can hear it. Well, here's what it looks like with a carrier. And that's all it says is good number, it got carrier. If it's busy, if there's voice, if there's, anything on the other end somebody picks up, you don't get anything on it. So that's as good as it gets with the Commodore 64. But that's what it looked like back in 1980 something, whatever, 85. This is version 2.0. This is the later 92 one, but the version 1.0 of this came out in like 86. Neither 1.0 or 1.5 worked with this modem, so I had to go with the 2.0, which is later than I wanted. But again, hardware is from 1984-ish. And if anybody knows of other word dialers that work on the Commodore 64 with either the Commodore modem or a Hayes modem, I have one over there, and I have the Swift link, and like I said, I have a user port RS-232 coming. If anybody knows of any software hardware combos that work, let me know. I would love to have something else that's more 1985-ish, but at any rate, that's where it's at right now, and I think that's the last machine. I'll pause with kind of a go through and show you everything at once right now. The Commodore, and there's the Hayes modem for it. There is the Apple II with the Hayes Hack-O-Matic. Bump. There's the Apple II with GBBS Pro. Listening. Got Slackware Linux box, which I hopefully will have another Unix available with this by VCF that I can swap a card in and out. Over here we have the BBS, the Wildcat one. And if I flip over this KVM, that is the war dialing machine, the Compact Despro. There are their modems. There is a Spark 20 with Solaris 5.6. The other Spark 20 with NetBSD. The SCO Unix box. And my NetWare box I'll bring along because it is the back end for the Wildcat storage for the BBS. And I think that's about it. I got one more machine that I'm going to try and bring down. A Sunblade 150 and get it working. Got another Unix box. But there's a little preview. Only 6 weeks to go? 5 weeks? That's it. Talk to you later.